Hello, Stitchy friends. How is everyone doing? I hope you have had a wonderful week. Today is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. My name is Andrew. This is my dog Winston, and this is The Runner Stitcher, my channel where I talk mostly about cross stitch and my cross stitch journey over the years, but also a little bit about running and a little bit about walking as well. So if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you enjoy what you see. I hope you enjoy following along on this amazing hobby with me. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming back week after week and spending some time with me. Winston and I are really grateful for this community and all the friends that we've made along the way. So thank you so much for being here. You all are very, very welcome. I want to start off just by saying I looked at the numbers this morning, and I think we just crossed 7,000 subscribers on this channel. And I don't want to jinx it because we're just over the number, right? So it can ebb and flow as people come and go. But I just wanted to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you as subscribers. That means the world to me. When I started this channel, I had no idea if anybody would even care what I was stitching. And let alone did I think I would have 7,000 friends join in on this journey with me. And I'm just so grateful for that. I'm really happy that you're all here and that we can kind of take this channel and make it what it is. So just a huge, huge thank you for that. I will try to put together some sort of giveaway maybe next week once we're over the hump of the number. But looking at it this morning, we had just crossed 7,000 subscribers, and I'm blown away. I'm kind of speechless. But so grateful for it, and I'm so happy each and every one of you are here. I also wanted to say a quick thank you to Abby, who took advantage of the Buy Me a Coffee link below. Thank you so much, Abby. I really appreciate that kind gesture, and yeah, just thank you so much for that. I've got a lot to go over with you today, so let's just jump right into the stitching. I've got a bunch of whips that I worked on, stitching projects. I've got some plans, tiny little bit of haul, and towards the end, I'll share a new craft that I'm trying, which has been really fun. So yeah, stick with me and we'll go through this. The first thing I want to talk about is my Whip into Shape challenge. And if you are not familiar with the Whip into Shape challenge, I sort of detail it all a few videos back in a video titled Whip into Shape Starts Now. So go check out that video if you want all of the details. But basically, you have a couple different ways to stitch along with walks that I am recording, and they're point of view walks that you can watch on my other YouTube channel called Andrew in Stride. And just kind of as a way of having something different to stitch along to, and also an experience to see a different part of the country that you might not be in. So and again, on that channel, we just crossed 600 subscribers. And again, I'm just blown away by that, and also all the kind comments that you've left on that channel and the videos that you've been watching. It's been really fun for me to record those and just kind of provide a slice of life of what's happening in those areas, and the trails that I'm walking on, the beaches that I'm walking on, and it's just been a lot of fun for me. So thank you so much if you went over there and subscribed to that channel as well. I can't believe we're at 600 there either. It's like, I feel like 2 big milestones this week, which is really, really awesome. But for the challenge, this past week I posted 2 more walks. I think it was number 6 and number 7. And the total stitches that I'm doing for those walks amounted to 373 that I needed to get done. I'm happy to say that I added 500, just over 500 to my Whip into Shape piece, which is 1838 Elizabeth Masterton. Just what this is going to look like. This is from the Scarlet thread. The Scarlet letter. I can never ever get this right. The Scarlet letter. It's this beautiful, beautiful piece. I'll also put a picture up here of where I was at the very beginning of the challenge, so you can see kind of the progress of the whole thing. And here's where I got to this week. So here it is. This is what I was able to accomplish this week on the 1838 Elizabeth Masterton. It's so much fun to work on. These silks are just beautiful. So I'm stitching this on a 40 count paper bark by Fox and Rabbit, and I'm using all the called for Averiswa silks. I'm still missing one, so I'm trying to work with my local needle workshop here in Florida to see if I can get that one. If not, I'll probably be placing an order somewhere to get that extra thread. But let's zoom in a little bit here and show you what I added this time. So I had reached the edge of the first page right here, and I decided to put the second page into markup. And so what I did was kind of eat my vegetables and stitch on those leaves in that border across the top there. And I'm just about at the end of the second page. Now, there are 3.5 pages total. So this is just over the halfway mark, and which I think everything will fit okay. It's gonna be close on this end, but I think we'll have enough room. There'll just be a little bit of space left over here, which is fine. That's all we need, a little margin. So I added in those leaves, and then the other thing I did was add in this flower right in here. So I did all of those beautiful stitches right there for the flower, and then the stems in the green as well. I also added in this tiny little heart right here. And another thing I did was I brought some of this 4-sided stitch border across the bottom here and added some of the back stitching border up at the top just to carry those along as well. So this is the piece. And I've really been enjoying it. I think it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really grateful to keep pulling this out for Whip into Shape. So this got, yeah, like I said, just over 500 stitches. I don't have a percentage since I am stitching this kind of page by page, but yeah, happy to see the progress. And so what happens now is there's one more flower right here in the center, and then the other side basically repeats this side. So we'll have these same 3 flowers on this side as well. And that border, of course, will go all the way across the top. So that's probably what I'll continue working on. And then once I get this top row done, I'll move back down here and keep working on this second row. But that is Elizabeth Masterton. And for the Whip into Shape challenge this week, I am planning on adding 3 walks this week. So it will be a little busier week. So get ready if you're stitching along. The first walk will be on the Lehigh Trail, which is a beautiful trail that my parents and I walk, and I run along almost all the time. Whenever I have a run longer than like 5 to 6 miles, that's the trail I run on, which is beautiful. So you'll get to see that. We also did a walk through Tomoka State Park, and that one is really, really special because there is a very special sighting of dolphins in that video, and I'm so happy to share that one with you. But the park itself is beautiful. And the final one I'll be posting this week is a walk along Butler Beach. And Butler Beach is close to St. Augustine, and it's one of my favorite white sand flat beaches here in Florida. And yeah, I just did a lovely walk along the ocean side. And so you'll get to see the water, the birds, the sand, and it's really lovely. So those 3 I've got for you this week, and I think it'll be a really fun week to watch those. It also means that there will be a little bit more stitching, and so Elizabeth Masterton will get some more stitches in. But it's been really great to see all the projects you're working on for Whip into Shape, and I'm super excited to see the progress that we're going to get over the next several months. And you know, I think probably my plan is to go back to New York maybe the end of this month, the end of March or beginning of April, and I'll continue walking in New York, and that I think will be really fun for me to kind of share some of the city with you as well. And I hope that will just be kind of really a different vibe than the Florida walks have been, but hopefully just as entertaining. And now let's jump into the rest of the whips that I worked on this week. So the first one I'm going to talk about today is Saga. This is from Long Dog Samplers. Here's what this is going to look like. And I will pop a video in here of where I was when I started the week. Here's my starting point for Saga for the week. And I'm just going to be filling in this center motif, this center arch here. I'll probably continue working on this flower since I have a little bit of that in, and then I'll get into the main part up here. You'll see how far I get now. Saga I pulled out for its normal day, and I ended up getting 642 stitches in, which is over what my weekly allotment is, which is fine. I'll just keep moving forward. But that puts me at 58.18% on this piece. And here is where we are at now. This is the full piece. So this is stitched on a 36 count vintage country mocha. I'm using the Silks for You PR207 is the name of the silk. And I'm stitching 1 strand of the silk over 2 linen threads. So let's zoom in a little bit here to this arch that I was working on this week. So what I worked on this time is I finished this flower right here, added the second little leafy bit here, and then the stems kind of going down. And with the flower, I actually have a counting error in there. And I fudged my way through the bottom of this flower. So There's supposed to be an extra space in here in between the squirrel and the flower, but I think he's just sniffing it extra carefully and a little bit closer to the flower. And I kind of tweaked some of these stems down here to make it work. But I think if I hadn't told you, I don't think you would actually have known that. And so I decided to just fudge it and move forward. There's nothing else that it will affect, but I did decide I'm not going to count anything off of this flower, which means that I went back up to the top here and started working down. So that's why in this section, now I went back up to the top and I stitched these two cute little helicopters and then started stitching these motifs up in here that will carry their way down. So that is so far the arch of Saga, and I think next week I will read the story because I think we'll have enough in next week to kind of share it and tell you what's going on with the story here in this arch. But that's super exciting. We're probably about 50% through that arch, and I always love when we get to complete an arch and read the story. So come back next week for sure, and I'll share the story with you. But that is Saga from Long Dog Samplers. I did also want to point out, and I forgot, but on this side right here, the next motif here is a bird that goes in here. And the reason I'm calling that out is because Melanie from Uplift Stitches is having a birthday month this month. And the Sal that she is inviting everybody to join in on is called, I'll put it in the comments below, but Happy Birthday Sal. So I'll spell that out for you on the screen. But basically she's asking you all to stitch on birds for her birthday. And so I decided, for Saga, since I've got this bird kind of lined up right here, ready to go, that I will stitch on that this week for Melanie's birthday. So if you're not already watching Melanie and Michael at Uplift Stitches, I highly recommend you go check out their channel. They both stitch such a good variety of projects, and they're just such lovely people. So definitely go check them out. But if you've got a bird project to stitch on this week for Melanie's birthday, pull it out and stitch a bird. So that's the first bird I will be working on for her. So. All right, the next whip I've got for you is Modern Folk Embroidery, The Fruits of Plenty. You've seen this one, it comes out almost every week now, and I'm getting close down here to the bottom section, but this is what the piece looks like. And even though this wasn't really called for in any of my challenges or stitching things that I needed to get done this week, I actually added 851 stitches, which I'm super happy with. That puts me at 89.91%, very, very close to the 90% mark on this piece now. But here is The Fruits of Plenty by Modern Folk Embroidery. This is stitched on a 32 count smoky white swag art linen, and I'm using two DMC colors 890 and 320, and I'm using 2 strands of DMC over 2 linen threads. And what did I work on this time? Well, let's zoom in. Most of what I did were my least favorite part of these pieces, all of these leaves. So as you saw before, I stitched on the leaf border of Elizabeth Masterton, and now I was stitching on the leaves of Fruits of Plenty. So it was very much a vegetable week for me, eating my vegetables first before I get to the fun stuff. But here is this middle section. So I finished this vase, and I basically did all of this, the leafy section in there. I don't think I had any of that completed. And I think that's actually the only section I worked on. I don't think I worked in either of these two at all. So it was just this one. But the other thing with this pattern, as I just spoke about Melanie's birthday Sal, this tree here has a bunch of different birds kind of sitting on it. And basically I did the leaves so that I could outline where those birds go. And my goal is to pull this out tomorrow, which I believe is Melanie's actual birthday on the 4th. And stitch some birds for her. So I'll be trying to add birds in Fruits of Plenty and also Saga tomorrow for a very, very happy birthday to Melanie. So this piece, as you know, is getting kind of close to a finish. We're at the bottom 3 sort of major medallions down here and motifs that will go in there, but we are getting close. And so the other thing I wanted to mention with this is Kat from Catkin and Lily. If you are not watching her channel, definitely go check her out. She's got some amazing full coverage pieces. She was stitching Fancy Ladies in February. They all look amazing. Makes me want to get back to my Fancy Ladies. But her channel is just lovely. She's got so many great tutorials, and she's also a cross-stitch designer, so she has some lovely patterns on her Etsy shop as well. But for March, Kat decided to do a Modern Folk Embroidery March. and I think that's brilliant. I think she's starting a couple Modern Folk embroideries. I know a couple other people, including Jason from Jason X Stitches. He is joining in on this and stitching Modern Folk for the month of March. And even though I have one other Modern Folk that I could start this month that I have here in Florida, I still have really been feeling like I just want to keep working on the whips I have. So I thought, what better way to kind of work on Modern Folk Embroidery March than to try to finish Fruits of Plenty in the month of March. Like I said, I have about 10% left on the piece, and that's just under 5,000 stitches. So it would be a push to get it done, but I think I'm going to try to do that. I think I'm going to try to really push myself and complete my March goals, and then just focus on this to try to get it as a finish this month. We'll see how far I get. Even if I don't get all the way to a finish, at least it'll be some really great progress to get me very close. But yeah, I'm going to do my best to finish this piece. So keep coming back this month, and we'll see if I can get this done to join in with Katkin and Lily's Modern Folk Embroidery March. And if you have a Modern Folk piece that you are stitching on or want to start, this is the month to do it. So definitely let us know what you're working on and sharing with this beautiful designer all the beautiful patterns that he's got. So. All right, now we're going to move on to the temperature stitching for the week. So if you are new here, for temperature stitching, I've got 3 whips assigned to different digits between 0 and 9. I look at the forecasted temperature for the upcoming week, and each day, whatever the high temperature is, I take the second digit of that day and put 100 stitches into that project. So the 3 whips that I've got in temperature stitching right now are Woodland Enchantress, Under the Oaks, and Mr. and Mrs. Claus that you picked for Whip into Shape. So the first one I'm going to share with you today is Woodland Enchantress. This is a kit from Dimensions. Here's what she's going to look like. This beautiful, beautiful Dimensions kit. I'm using all the kit materials, all the kit floss, fabric, everything, and doing it just like the kit calls for. So 4 strands sometimes, 2 strands sometimes, half cross, full cross, French knots, all of that. But I will put a video in here of where I was when I started the week. Here's my starting point for Woodland Enchantress, and I'm going to probably be filling in some of the background in here and also over here around her hair, and probably over here as well. That's my goal for this week, but I might also work in the dress because that is so much fun. So you'll see what I get up to. And this week I was able to add in 752 stitches. Now that sounds like a lot because it was only called for 300 stitches. However, the majority of that was background stitching, which meant it was half stitches. So I felt okay kind of going a little bit above and stitching that many because technically they were half stitches, but that puts me at around 44% on this piece. So getting very, very close to the halfway mark. So here is where she is now. So what did I work on this time? Well, first of all, I did a little bit more of the stitching in around here. I actually got to add these beautiful pink red colors in that will go in her dress or her cape there, whichever you want to call it. And then I filled in this whole section right here. I think there was some half stitch background missing there in that section. And then I brought that thread over here to this side and I filled in a bunch of these half stitches over here. So that background is much more filled in than it was before. There's still a few colors that I'm missing. I've got this one here waiting to be used next, but most of the stitching around the hair is complete. So another session of background stitching, and I probably will be able to finish back stitching the hair in that location. But yeah, this is what she's looking like. Again, this is an 18 count Ada that comes with the kit, and I'm using all the kit materials. I think she's looking really great. Do a little bit of a close-up on the stitching here. All those French knots in her hair that I did last week. And yeah, just a lot of fun to get into a little bit more of the greens and especially these pink colors here. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, that's where she is. And she'll keep coming out for temperature stitching here in the future. All right, and the next temperature stitch piece is the Witch Whip piece. That is the one that you voted on and chose. You all chose Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So I've been getting into the Christmas spirit, even though it's getting warmer here in Florida now. But this piece is so much fun. I'm really glad it's coming out and that you picked it to work on. So I'll put a video in here of where I was when I started the week. Here's my starting point for Mr. and Mrs. Claus for the week. Only called for 100 stitches one day, but I will continue working on the fireplace here, and you'll see how far I get to it. And this was only called for 1 day, so it only got 100 stitches. I think I probably did add just a little bit more than 100 on this piece, but here is where we are right now. So I'm using all the kit materials. This is a 28 count Lugana, and I'm stitching with called for threads, everything that comes with the kit here. And what did I work on this time? So I had everything that's backstitched north of that. I had that completed last time. So I worked on bringing down the rest of this fireplace here. And we got to, there is a bow on the fireplace mantle right here. So we got to those beautiful reds that will make that bow. And that's why there's all these parked threads to continue on with that section. And obviously I didn't add any of the backstitching. So that's why you can see the difference between the backstitched part up here and the non-backstitched part down here with how it looks. But the exciting thing is we got to the mantle. So right here, these two colors of brown right here, that is the top of the mantle place on the fireplace. And that is just very exciting. So once we'll finish this kind of the stone part above the mantle here, there's a few things on the mantle, I think, sitting there. And then we'll get down into the actual fire of the piece that's down by that Christmas tree. So super exciting. Even though it was only 100 stitches, I really had fun with it and kind of finding my method for stitching on it. That's why I've got all these parked threads, but really enjoyed it. So, and this piece will keep coming out for temperature stitching as well. You'll probably see a lot of it, as we'll talk about in plans. And the final temperature stitching piece that I worked on is the new kit that I started from Merejka, and it's called Under the Oaks. Here's what this is going to look like. This was a gift that they so kindly gifted to me, and I could not wait to start and start using their app and everything along with it. So I'll pop a video in here of where I was when I started the week. Here is my starting point for Under the Oaks this week. I'm going to be starting up here at the top on this next diagonal, and I will be just working my way down through. So you'll see how far I get now. This was called for another 3 days on temperature stitching, and I actually added 477.5 stitches. That puts me at a total of 2.8%. Still only 2% on this piece, but hopefully I'm holding this up in the right direction this time. And here is where I'm at now. So basically what I got done is I had started this next diagonal right here, and I got through all of these leaves and the branches here, all the way down. I didn't quite finish that diagonal. You'll see there's a little bit missing here at the bottom corner, but got a good chunk done. And just look at all these beautiful threads that are parked here, waiting to be used to fill in more of the trees there. I'm really happy with how this is looking. I think that the tree is really coming together now that I've got a little bit more of the diagonal completed. And again, I'll just say, like, up here was really fun to get to some of these different colors in it. There's some oranges and some purples, but it just really adds to the fall colors and leaves in this picture. And super excited. Next week, when it comes out for temperature stitching again, this diagonal right here at the bottom will get to the darker blue in the sky. So we'll be reaching a new color here in the diagonal, which is super exciting. And I think we've still got 2 or 3 more diagonals to go before we hit anything else other than the tree. But I think this looks really great. I'm super excited with how it's coming out, and I absolutely love stitching in the diagonal with this app. There's just something fun about it. I really had to stop myself to not go further because I knew I had other things I wanted to work on, but I could have just kept this out for days. And I told myself, no, put this away. You have other goals to complete as well. And it's in temperature stitching, so it will keep coming out. Pace yourself. But yeah, I just really, really enjoy this one. And yeah, it'll keep coming out. So you'll see it again next week. And that's all the stitching I've got for you this week, but I do have sort of a new craft that I've kind of been trying to teach myself. I ended up thrift shopping one day last week just to see what was in the area. And one of the things I found at a thrift shop was a crochet hook, and it was 50 cents. I figured I'm just gonna buy it, see what happens. The thrift shop happened to be next to a Dollar Tree, and they had fairly cheap yarn there. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy some yarn. I already have the hook. I'll just see if I can teach myself crochet. So these things are not perfect by any means. I am still totally learning the stitches, my tension, everything. But I thought I would start with a granny square just to see, how it would go, just to try learning it. So I started and tore out and started and tore out granny squares, maybe about 10 times, and until I finally sort of got the hang of what I was doing and felt like I was understanding the flow more. So here is the little granny square I made. Now I haven't blocked it at all. I haven't even woven in my ends yet, but this is what I was able to do. And I actually think it looks pretty cute. I'll use it as a little mug rug for here in Florida. You know, I've got my other knitted one back in New York, but this will be fun to use here. And I'm just happy that it actually sort of is a square shape. The first couple times I tried this, my granny square was looking more like a granny circle, and I just wasn't quite grasping it, but I think this looks cool. And I was really happy with this fun blue color as well. So that was my first granny square. And then I thought, you know what, I just want something that I can practice the crochet stitches with. So I can just kind of get in the rhythm and understand the stitches, get my tension kind of better. And a blanket seemed a little bit too big to start with. But then I thought, you know what, I could make a little blanket for Winston, and that would at least get me the repetitive nature of, you know, working on those stitches. So I found a pattern on YouTube, and this is where I got to. So it's kind of a, I think they call it a wave pattern maybe, where you'll see it kind of ebbs and flows, it goes up and down here. But it's going to be 4 different colors, and so these are the first 2 rows of this first color. I'll start with the next color and just keep building it up, but each one will get, you know, it'll get longer this way. So this is the full width of it. It does cover Winston's blanket. It will be a little small. I probably could have gone another, you know, 12 stitches to the side here, but it's okay. I'm loving it, and Winston is not going to care about any of these, you know, bigger holes like this one right here, or the tension not being quite right. He's not going to mind. So he's a good person to make this for in the first little bit, but I'll just keep stitching on this when I feel like it. It was really fun to do something a little different with my hands, and I was able to do this in the car a lot when we were traveling, so that was fun. It's a little harder for me to cross stitch in the car, but this was much easier, so definitely will probably continue this as a car project while I'm here in Florida. And yeah, I have no idea when I'll, you know, keep working on this or finish this, but it's nice to have it going, and I definitely want to keep the practice going with these stitches. And so we'll just see, but that's my little first soiree into crochet. So I thought I would share that with you. Before we get into plans, I've got just a tiny little bit of haul. I went to a Hobby Lobby for the first time, maybe ever. I don't think I've ever been to a Hobby Lobby before, but there's one here where my parents live, and we went over the weekend. It's huge, there's so much stuff. Not quite as much cross stitch, to be honest, but you know, it was fun to just be in the craft store and see all these fun hobbies. But one thing I did get was this this pack of threads from Artiste. I just loved these beautiful fall colors. I think what I love stitching the most are fall colors and like blue and orange, and that was in here as well. So it was only, you know, you can see $3.49. This is called the Fall 6-strand cotton floss pack, the fall colors. And, you know, I thought they'd be just fun to try for a different project. Plus, I've never stitched with these iris, I think is what is on the label, iris threads. And thought it'd be fun to kind of compare and see how they relate to DMC. But got that pack, and then I was looking at what fabrics they had there, and I came across this embroidery cotton. Now, I'm not sure if this is even meant for cross stitch or not. I'll show it here, but it was only $1.99. So if it's not and it doesn't work out, that's fine. I won't use it, but I'm gonna pull it up here. You can kind of see that it looks a little bit like Ada, the cloth does itself. Maybe I can show this side. It'll be a little bit easier to see. It kind of looks like Ada. There's definitely the squares, but it's very tiny. So it also doesn't list the count of the fabric on here, so I have no idea what actual count it is. I'll have to measure it and see. The size of the fabric is a 15 by 18, and it looks pretty tiny. It looks to me like it might be a 25 or 28 count. But let me know, have you ever used embroidery cotton before? Have you seen this at Hobby Lobby? I was just amazed that it was only $1.99. I know cotton will be a little bit different to stitch on, but I'm gonna give it a shot and see what I think. So I did buy that. And those are the only 2 pieces of haul. As you know, I'm still trying to not be spending a lot. And yeah, between that and a little bit on crochet, that was my haul for the week. All right, let's jump into plans now and what I'll be stitching on this upcoming week. So of course, temperature stitching will continue coming out. I will put a picture of the chart, the new chart up here. And it's funny what was called this week. Only 2 days for Under the Oaks. So for the Merejka kit, I'll get 200 stitches. And then Mr. and Mrs. Claus got called for 5 days. 5 days of temperature stitching for that piece. We're gonna be through that witch whip category in no time at this rate. But that will get 500 stitches. And unfortunately, Woodland Enchantress did not get called at all this week. So I'm not sure if that will come out or not this week. We'll have to see. Along with Mr. and Mrs. Claus getting 500 stitches, we also got the new WhipGo numbers. WhipGo is a game that Jessie Marie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on Flosstube came up with, and I'm playing a version of this with my Patreon members. It's been a lot of fun, and so this month it goes back to Mr. and Mrs. Claus as the first call for WhipGo for March. So that will need another 500 stitches. And then also my Patreon members voted a little bit for Mr. and Mrs. Claus and added an additional 100 stitches for Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So all in all, that's 1,100 stitches that need to go into that piece. I think I will try to get them all in this week. That will be kind of my big goal for the week, to complete those stitches on Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So if that's a project that you really loved and you voted for, you're gonna see some decent progress next week. So come back and check that out. But that's my first WhipGo call for the month. And then once I get that done, I'll talk about the second one as well. And of course, I'm gonna continue working on Saga. That will try to get the daily or the weekly stitches in for the week. And then Fruits of Plenty will be a focus piece. So I will try to pull that out and get as much as I can to push towards a finish on that piece, which will be a lot of fun, I think. And I think those are really the only hard and fast plans I've got for the week. If there's extra time, then we'll see what I'm feeling. But probably that will go to either Under the Oaks, just because I'm really enjoying that, or Fruits of Plenty to push towards a finish. And a little bit of a life update as well. Thank you so much for all of the kind words and comments that you left for my aunt having her surgery last week. The surgery did go really well. She is out of the hospital. They moved her to a rehab facility now where she is going through rehab therapy to start walking again and start moving around. But she's doing well. She is having some pain at night, so we're still continuing to pray that that pain kind of goes away for her and they're able to sort of medicate that a little bit better. But that sort of comes with a back surgery of that nature. And but overall, she's doing really well. We went to see her over the weekend, and it was fun to spend a little time with her and to be there with her in the center. So thank you so much again for your kind comments, and please continue to keep her in your thoughts as she continues the recovery process. Even once she gets home, which they're saying she may be able to come home at the end of the week, but even after she's home, there's going to be a long process of recovery, and she's not going to be able to do all of the things that she was doing before. So hopefully I'll be able to help out as much as I can since I'm down here, and yeah, we'll all get through it together. But thanks again for the comments, and just keep her in your prayers and thoughts. Things in Florida are finally warming up. I think we are over the coldest of the cold spells again. And I think it's really looking like spring. The bunnies are coming out, the cardinals are coming out, and yeah, I think we're really heading in that direction. Today was a beautiful, beautiful morning to have a 5-mile run, and just made me really grateful to be here in this lovely weather. I think this weekend it's supposed to get up to 85 degrees on Sunday, and so probably we'll try to have a beach day, which is really exciting. I always love those and look forward to those with my parents. And yeah, that's Florida. I've got a couple other walks in mind to do here in Florida that I'll be kind of filming over the next week or so and sharing with you as they come along. So that will be fun also. And then we'll kind of start looking to get back to New York. I am starting to kind of miss some things about New York and my life there. So yeah, that'll be here before I know it. But I think that's all I've got for you today. So thank you so much for joining me for this and catching up with me to see what I've been up to this week, looking at the updates. And I hope you all have a wonderful week of stitching, and I hope you're able to find things that bring you joy, including your stitching. So keep running if you're a runner, always keep stitching, and be kind to whoever you meet on your journey. Bye for now, until the next stitch.